Talk with a Southern accent. That's what we do right here on the Y'all Show. John Rawl back in here as we get this Tuesday really cooking up big time with our barbecue barrister. Matt Heermans now coming on board as he is with us talking barbecue, grilling, and just giving us great facts and nuggets about life. And we're welcoming in Matt Heermans to the Y'all Show right now. Barbecue barrister, how the heck are you, sir?
I'm doing great, John. I'm still locked down at the house, but smoking and blowing and doing great. How about
Smoking.
yourself?
You know, when I was growing up, it was smoking and joking, but you truly smoke and blow your way through life.
Well, blowing and going, smoke. I just kind of combine some different sayings here. I mean, these are the kind of things that you do when you're locked in your house for a month. You start coming up with your own sayings, I guess. So there we go.
Well, smoking is a good thing for what you do. You're the barbecue
Huh.
barrister. And that doesn't come lightly. We don't just give anybody that title. But Matt Heermans is our barbecue barrister right here on the Y'all Show. If you'd like to reach out to the barbecue barrister, it's very easy to do. You can reach us here at 803-816-1170, and that's how you can connect to the barrister. Or you can, if you find us right now on Facebook Live, you can go to our y'all.com Facebook Live page, and the barbecue barrister is awaiting your response. In fact, I don't know if you've gone through our comments lately, barbecue barrister, but we've had some people chime in over the last few weeks wanting to know your take on things. So we appreciate all of that feedback. And remember, no question is too dumb. And I've asked plenty of dumb, D-U-double-M questions right here on the Y'all Show to our barbecue barrister. Now, haven't I, Matt?
No comment.
What a friend. What a friend we have in Matt Heermans. Yes, we're here talking with him about grilling and more. And we are slowly but surely coming out of this darn shutdown here for the last 6 weeks. And I want to ask you, as you have been well aware with the news reports, we've had a lot of our great food industry workers come down positive for the coronavirus at our meat plants around the country, really. And we're getting the warning signs there may be a meat shortage. Have you seen such a shortage thus far? And what are we going to do to get through this thing?
Well, I don't know about a shortage per se, maybe a selection issue.
Okay.
I can't say that there has been any shortage of meat. In other words, if you want to go to the grocery store, and at least in my area, there is meat. There is frozen meat. There's all kinds of meat. The selection has just not been exactly what it was, and there's a rotation. So one day there'll be a heck of a lot of this kind of meat. The next week you may see this meat. So the selection has been less than ideal, but there has been no shortage, at least in this area, and maybe I'm fortunate to say that. But from what I understand, I think a lot of the meat production is going to be, again, I haven't followed the news probably as closely as you have, John, but from what I understand, the meat production facilities are going to be kind of forced to stay open, at least for the time being.
That's the
So,
executive order coming from our commander in chief. However,
correct.
you just can't pull anybody off the street overnight and get them working on a meat production line, I wouldn't think. And I know
Well,
a lot,
yeah, I
maybe you
think you
can.
might. I think you might be able to do that. Pretty close to that. Maybe not overnight, but I don't think it takes a whole lot to, particularly at these big agricultural operations. It's not going to take you a year to learn the tricks of the trade there. So I think I'm not terribly worried about that. I think, hey, if I go to the store and I'm looking for a particular set of ribs, maybe I'm upset that they don't have those, but I'm very, very happy that there's other kind of meats. And we've kind of discussed that on the show before, is like expand, maybe this is a good time to expand your horizons and smoke some other things and grill some other things. And I've done that. So while I've been tempted to complain, maybe the baby backs weren't where the baby backs should be, and I got to wait another week to get the kind of ribs I want. I guess I can't really complain because there has not been a shortage. There's been plenty of meat, just maybe a different selection situation.
I think the concern going forward is that the food supply chain is going to get kind of out of whack with all these people testing positive at plants in South Dakota. I know there was a plant around Nashville that also had a lot of workers test positive for the coronavirus there. And so we may not be feeling it right this second, but a couple of days or weeks down the road, you could be seeing more of a little bit of a shortage of the food chain supply there. And that's
Yeah,
that's the
well, that's
problem.
that's a good That's a good point too. I would say, it's a good time to get in touch with maybe some local farmers or maybe some farmers markets, particularly whatever region you're in. It may sound kind of goofy, but there are probably local farmers that sell to small operations wherever you live, and maybe it's a good time to kind of do a little research in case the big operations, lose some of their manpower. You can always go to the little guys around the corner, maybe. So that's in the theme of our show. Maybe that's a good thing to do is maybe figure out who's got eggs, who's got meat, who's got chickens around next to you, and I bet you can find a small local farm around you if you look.
You're right. In fact, Matt, I'm going to get my inner barbecue and grilling on myself as I talk to our barbecue barrister here. About this time last year, one of our great affiliates, WTJS FM, the afternoon show, George B., has a local meat sponsor. They have a farm that provides beef and other items in that area of the WTJS listening area. And I got a chance to go to a kind of appreciation party they were having. And I had never had a hamburger that came from a truly small operation like that place there in Lexington, Tennessee had. And it was delicious. The meat was so much better. And I think they made a big deal out of saying it was grass fed. I don't know what they normally feed the cows that they get slaughtered and show up in your hamburgers at the fast food places, but it truly did give you a very more elite taste.
Yeah, no, you're right. There is a difference. I like to strike a balance between, I understand a lot of folks, you got to go to the grocery store that's close to you, and a lot of people on a budget, and I certainly understand that. So you got to do what you can do. But there is a difference, and you've experienced it there, John, from a cow, raised outside of the uh, let's call it the corporate agricultural kind of method that's able to roam and eat grass and probably a little bit healthier. There is a big difference. Cows are not the only thing. There are pigs that are raised on small farms with large areas to roam that eat grass and grain and root around kind of more naturally than, kind of what they're used to doing, as opposed to kind of the large factory farms where they don't do any of that. So, you know, um, I tend to, I really haven't made any bones about it. I tend to like to support the small guy and the little guy, the local farmer, but also understand that comes at a cost premium. So while I enjoy maybe eating a little bit less and purchasing from a smaller farm, not everybody can or wants to do that. But I would encourage folks, this might be the time to do it because a lot of these, when I say small farms, particularly if you've got a farmer's market around you, and I know for a fact there are a lot of great farmers market throughout the South. Um, a lot of times you're talking a family, literally a family farm, a husband, a wife, and maybe some kids and a helper, and that's it. There's no giant manpower that like a Tyson or something like that, or a Smithfield, where, to be quite honest, they've kind of outsourced a lot of this stuff to people across the world. But anyway, this is the right time to maybe give it a shot. Maybe try your local farmer, and because they're not shutting down. They don't. Again, a lot of these people are working themselves. Like there's a guy next close to me that sells eggs, and he's into the local stores, and it's just him and his wife. But that's helpful to know that there's a person right up the road who's providing eggs. So maybe it's a time to kind of go back to a smaller situation, and maybe I don't know, maybe it's something for people to look into. And you're always supporting a family as opposed to a big business operation. So I encourage folks to do that if you can. If you can't, you can't. But if you can, it's a great thing to do.
Matt, you were talking about the local sourcing, I think is the term. It's like really a buzzword. In fact, it's kind of a symbol of being woke these days. If you go to a
Oh,
restaurant and
oh,
they've
whoa,
got,
whoa, 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 whoa.
no, I said woke, not woke.
No, okay.
You need to say
I
hold your
don't.
horses instead of
Well,
whoa.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I wouldn't describe myself as woke, but I know what you mean. There is there's things that little phrases, buzzwords like farm to table and
There you
locally
go.
sourced. Yeah,
CSA. What is that?
it's
I,
it's like. it sounds trendy, but it's really not. It's really kind of the way things used to be
Mm-hmm.
before, there were 4 or 5 massive agricultural corporations that run everything. So, I mean, look, I know people, and to me too, I hear things like that and I think, oh, wow, $50 a plate for you know, an artisanal collard green or something like that. But, it is really it just means you're buying from someone who's doing it probably right and probably close to you and who's probably supporting their family by doing it. And it's probably of a higher quality. So if you can kind of get past the, the woke sounding buzzwords, it's really just kind of a return to a small farming and a small local type of thing. And the cool thing about it too, John, is when you go somewhere and you eat at a place like that or you buy something from a local market, you're actually eating what that place kind of tastes like. You're not eating something that was imported from another country or another state. You're eating something that was grown right there in the dirt. And if you're someone who likes travel and region, and then you'll like that too. And I'm admittedly a goofy guy that likes that type of stuff.
I don't want to dare try to compare my background to the people involved in the meat industry. That is farming, but it's farming of another kind. I will say, as the third generation child of vegetable farmers, this whole trend about locally sourced vegetables, I don't know about you. I know how hard it is to grow really good looking vegetables. Thankfully, my roots, we grow exceptional looking produce. It's available across the country, by the way, in case you want to go look for the raw name on your local grocery store for some of your veggies. But it's hard to do, and it takes a lot of money, and frankly, it takes a lot of pesticide and other products, of which is not a good thing to say to most people. But if you didn't have those things, you wouldn't have anywhere near the quality. And I know some people have tried the organic type of growing. That just doesn't. That doesn't. That dog don't hunt, Matt Heermans. Not when it comes to vegetables.
I will defer. I do not come from a family of vegetable farmers, so I'm going to defer to your expertise there.
Yeah, and trust me, people have been eating vegetables the way that the large farms grow them, and that's the way they do them in Mexico. Which, of course, if you go to your local produce store, chances are about 80% of the produce is probably from Mexico. That's really a shame, but it's really the truth. And so, yeah, that they're not following organic pattern. They may some people even call it organic, and it ain't close to being organic
Yeah.
in terms of the vegetable side. But we're not here to talk veggies, even though I'm sure Matt Heermans probably enjoys talking a little vegetables with us. By the way, speaking of Mexico, do we import meat from south of the border? Are you aware of that?
Yeah, I mean, we import everything.
Okay,
We import everything in this country. Yeah, if
even
there's
the
something,
coronavirus.
yeah, that's right. We import viruses, meat, vegetables, electronics. Pretty much import everything, which
Okay.
is, not necessarily something that we want to do forever. I don't think, but yeah, there you do, and honestly, that's another. To go back, we were talking about, it's another reason too that it's kind of a nice thing to be able to buy meat when you know where it comes from. You can drive there and you could look at it if you wanted to. Not that you'd want to, but if you wanted to, you could. And there are places around that still do that, because you don't know what's going on in other places. You don't know what's going on in this country half the time, but you certainly don't know what's going on in another place. It doesn't have the same rules and regulations, doesn't have a USDA inspector, and whatever you feel about those regulations, zero regulations is probably not something you want to put into your mouth. So, yeah, you keep that in mind for sure. And you're exactly right about produce. I think people would be shocked to know how little you're actually buying from this country. But again, I like to try to support the local people when I can. And if that's possible, again, I would just encourage folks to try to do that.
And it's no secret. That's one thing. If it's not grown in the country, they usually don't lie. It usually says right there on the product, made in or imported from a country like Mexico or even further south. We are visiting with our barbecue barrister, Matt Heermans. We've got another segment left with the guy that knows everything about food, and if he doesn't, well, he'll go find out real quick during this commercial break. I think he knows. More with our barbecue barrister is coming right up here on the Y'all Show. Stay where you are. And we're back on the Y'all Show talking with a Southern accent. Good to have you back with us. Reminder, we've got an action-packed Wednesday Y'all Show headed your way with our ACC News and Precious Harris coming up. And then join us on Thursday. We're going to virtually go to Auburn, Opelika, Alabama as our Spring Swing Tour continues. This will be our second stop, and we've got some great guests that will be joining us from Auburn and Opelika, the plains of Auburn in East Alabama, and we're going to have a great time going to a restaurant there. We'll go to the hotel at Auburn University for a tour of that property, and then the tourism office there in Auburn, Opelika is going to be on to talk about all the various options you have when you go to Auburn and Opelika, Alabama. All that again on the Thursday Y'all Show. You don't want to miss out on the fun. And then on Friday, we have a very, very special guest that will be joining me. It's actually his 10th birthday, and normally I don't let little youngins come on the Y'all Show, but he's earned it because, well, it's my son, and I let him on here about once a year, and I don't usually let him on until he's finished his grade. Well, guess what? Because of this virus, like a lot of kids, they've already been told that this Friday is going to be their last day at school. They've been, just like a lot of students, doing things virtually the last couple of weeks, and I don't know if it's not working well or what, but they're just saying, hey, we're going to shut it down come Friday. So as a reward, Knowlton's going to be on here, and we're going to have a great time talking with him as he celebrates also Friday his 10th birthday. So Matt Heermans, I don't know how you are at making birthday cakes, but if you can whip up one here real quick, we'd appreciate it if you get to me by Friday.
You probably wouldn't want to eat anything that I would bake.
Is that right?
Absolutely not. I know there's some form of egg and flour, and that's about all I know about baking. I know it's a science, which means I avoid it.
Well, a delicious birthday cake, especially ones you do try to make, are something special, and I haven't had one in a while. In fact, I guess I need to be getting one ready for the old boy come Friday for our fun there.
Dad.
But yes, that's part of the duties, as you will soon find out. You haven't had your first child's first birthday party, but it'll be here before you know it, and they are fun. And I don't know about you. Did you always have a big birthday for every single year when you were a kid, or do you just remember?
No, maybe I wasn't into that. I never have liked to really kind of be the center of attention. So I started, once I hit a certain age, it started getting weird. And I was like, man, I don't like all this stuff. So I just have a few friends over and we'd hang out and do things like that. But I wasn't a big fan of the big birthday. I like the presents, but yeah, never a big, I don't know. I like to kind of blend in and have a good time. I wasn't a big birthday guy. What about you?
Unfortunately, aren't you the eldest child?
I am, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm the baby child. And let me tell you, it has to be a lot more fun to be the eldest as it is to be the baby, because when you're the baby, you kind of get forgotten about.
Yeah, yeah.
After your parents have had 3 kids and you're number 3, well, there comes a point in time where it's just another birthday party. And so I kind of got the short end of the stick. And also, my birthday is in early August. Your birthday is when?
July 2nd.
You didn't have to tell me the exact date. Now you got me guilted into making sure I get you something July 2nd. That's just before that other birthday here, July 4th.
Right. Uh-huh.
But when your birthday is in early August, what doesn't happen typically in early August? What's not going on usually, at least in the old days?
Yeah, there's no football.
And no football. Well, there actually is preseason. There's no school. And so because there's normally no school, when I was going to school, we didn't go back till around late August. And so when you don't have a birthday that happens in the middle of the school year, you don't have your friends come up and say happy birthday. They don't bring you little happy cards and other fun things. I don't know why my parents had to have me in August. I need somebody to cry to. It's just not fair. It's not fair. And
no, man, you made it though.
Did I? Have I? I
don't know.
We're getting people picking on us right now. I don't think we have. Keith from the Big Island in Hawaii is actually chiming in to us right now.
Oh,
and do you know what this guy Keith has just accused? He used plural. So he's accusing both of us of being hippies. That's his word, hippies. And I know my hair's a little long, and I'm not with the shirt and tie like I sometimes am on the show today. But come on, man. Now, Matt Heermans, let's take a look at this guy. Look at that. Yeah, that's kind of hippie-ish.
Yeah, well, I kind of know where this guy's coming from, but I will say I'm taking full advantage um, of this time at the house. With no shaving and putting on a suit and going into a courtroom and stuff like that. I mean, I've gone completely the other direction. So, I guess, how am I going to defend myself over that charge? I really can't. I mean, you're looking at me right now, right? So, I've experimented with facial hair. I've let it grow out. I'm like I say, and I told my wife, in the memory of Joe Diffie, I've got a mullet and I've got a mustache now. So
And
that's my
a
tribute.
bed that never had to be made.
That's right. I got one right there. So yeah, I just put it. This is my springtime tribute to the great Joe Diffie, who we lost a while ago, and
To the
hopefully
coronavirus, sadly.
I know, and at some point in time, I'll be clean cutting back in the courtroom. But until then, I'm rolling late 1970s style.
Well, speaking of when it comes to grooming, and we got to get back to talking food as much as I'd like to talk about our personal hair care and stuff like that. When it comes to barbecue restaurants, they're kind of a little bit different, are they not, in terms of cleanliness? Meaning that a lot of restaurants, they get the food inspectors coming in all the time. They've got to have that A grade. The way a smoker at a real barbecue restaurant set up, do you have to come in there with the nets all over your hair when you're preparing a pig to smoke? Does it really matter if one follicle gets into that pig while you're cooking it at 5,000 degrees?
Well, if you're cooking at 5,000, it's not going to be very tender, John. I got to tell you, but yeah, you don't want you want a high level of cleanliness for sure. You don't want any follicles in the pork for sure. But I
Oh,
will I will say a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times, especially in kind of an old school barbecue joint, you're going to have your smoker outside of the
that's what I was
building.
getting at. Don't you think there's got to be
Yeah,
some different rules for barbecue
yeah,
versus your
and it's
Starbucks of the
state
world?
by state. It's state by state, but generally, you're right. If you've got your pit outside, that's a whole different animal. We're talking about a pig, but that's a whole different animal than it would be if you have something inside in a kitchen. So yeah, you've got kitchen rules, then you've got your outside smoker. Now sometimes you've got a smoker that's inside that has a vent going up, and that's a little bit different. But yeah, there's a different set of rules. You got your pit outside versus the kitchen. Kitchen has very specific rules, and it varies by state, but it's different if you've got your pit outside.
For pit's sake. Okay. I'm glad we found out from our barbecue barrister, Matt Heermans. Wrapping up our conversation with our barrister here on today's Y'all Show. Now, I know you're not a big fan. I have to bring this up as we wrap up because I had something this past weekend, that I had not had in a long, long time. And I know you're not typically a fish guy, but I had some good popcorn shrimp. Are you okay with
Oh,
popcorn shrimp?
I love shrimp. I'll just say that. Popcorn, maybe not my favorite, but I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to throw. Oh, look, I'm going to be a cool guy. I'm not going to throw shade at your popcorn shrimp, John.
Well, I
You
had it.
like it.
It was delicious, and I hadn't had it in a long time
There you
because
go.
I
There
guess
you
I'd
go.
kind of gotten frustrated going to the Captain D's, aka Captain Diseases of the world, and the Long John Silvers, and their version of shrimp was not what I experienced at this place that I went to this past weekend.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
are you
Well,
okay with shrimp on the grill, at least a fried shrimp on the grill?
oh, I love shrimp. I live along the Gulf Coast. I love grilled shrimp. I don't want to get like Forrest Gump here, but grilled shrimp,
No,
fried
do it.
shrimp,
Come on.
blackened shrimp, shrimp scampi. I like all kinds of shrimp, man. I like stuffed shrimp. So I like it all.
But
The
do you
only,
like
I'm not,
making it on the grill?
I love it. I love grilling it. I like a little blackened seasoning. I like cooking it over charcoal. Grilled shrimp, fantastic. Little butter sauce, little crystal, and some garlic in there to dip into. It's wonderful. Glorious.
I'm
Yeah.
glad I asked the question because I had gathered from past conversations with our barbecue barrister that you're not a big fan of the fish, and I think it's because there's no afterlife for that fish, right?
Well, no, no. I'm not a big fan of saving fish after you cook it.
That's
I
what I
love
meant.
fish. I love seafood as long as it's fresh and local. Fresh and local. I love seafood. Absolutely.
Well, I don't think we have to worry about maybe some of the COVID 19 problems when it comes to the fish industry of all things, while our meat plants may be a little bit under the gun from in terms of a positive coronavirus standing. Let's hope that the Gulf shrimp and all the other products that are coming out these days, I guess crawfish is still available for a short time, right?
Yeah, we got a little bit of crawfish season left. That usually winds up this month or June, but you might be able to sneak out and eat some bugs right now if you want to.
All right. Well, Matt Heermans, hippie that you are, Keith, we won't hold that against you for weighing in here. We'll go get our milk.
I'm trying to get in touch with this guy Keith. I don't know about this.
Yeah, like I said, I think he actually was reaching out to us from Hawaii. Do we really
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to get a little bit of a rivalry going with our 50th state, the Aloha State? I mean, come on. What Hawaii? Come on. This is the Y'all Show. We appreciate y'all for being on with us. Matt Heermans has been our very special guest. We'll see you back here for Wednesday, more of the show that's all about the South, and it'll be a good one. Have a good one yourselves.